Welcome to The Fight with Teddy Atlas, presented by Dynamic Striking. I'm Ken Rideout, joined as always by Mr. Worldwide, the international traveler, the legend Teddy Atlas. Teddy, how you feeling?
A little tired, but nothing that a couple cappuccinos can't help. 20 hours. I got in this morning, right? Got in from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia this morning, me and my son. Great trip. Very appreciative, everyone. I'll get to that in a second. But 20 hours from leaving our hotel to getting here, all together. The main trip, once we get to Dubai and have a layover, short flight to Dubai, layover, and then direct the rest of the way home. 14 and a half hours was that part. So, again, I don't know where the hell I am other than I'm doing a podcast. I know that. I know it's 4 o'clock in the morning where I was yesterday. So hopefully I get through this with help from you and Rob and Sam. At the end of the day, just want to say that, first of all, I think I was the first to say this, that Turki Al-Sheikh was the new face to boxing. Whether you like that or not, you got to give it merit in the last year. I get it, Canelo, I get Usyk, I get Fury, of course. But I also get why I'm saying Turki Al-Sheikh in that kind of way. He has transformed the landscape of boxing in the last year, bringing us the fights he's brought us. And by the way, just in case you forgot, this is now the second title unification fight that he has brought us in the last 6 months. Of course, Fury and Usyk, and now Bivol and Beterbiev. And here's the funny thing, Ken. Both of them, you talk about coincidence, whatever you want to talk about, or it's telling you something about how long it's been since we've had unified, how rare it is, what a rarefied air it is to get, undisputed titles. It's been 25 years for both. 25 years it was between heavyweight unified title and a light heavyweight unified title. Matter of fact, the last heavyweight unified title had been Lennox Lewis, and the last light heavyweight unified title was Roy Jones. So, again, both unified for the first time in 25 years. All the bells and whistles, too. When have we ever seen the halftime shows, the part with the entertainment that we get now with the concerts and everything? That's Super Bowl stuff, where you never saw that in boxing.
Yeah. The last one they had in L.A. was friggin' Eminem. I can't think of anyone who would be bigger or more expensive than Eminem. Beyonce, maybe?
And these, yeah, maybe. And these were also tremendous names, people that are popular, people that have been popular. And at the end of the day, me and my son couldn't have been treated better than we were by everyone from Turki Al-Sheikh to all the promoters there, Frank Warren, Spencer Brown, Eddie Hearn, to Spencer Brown's people who do all the logistics of the shows, James and Craig and Ali and Yusuf, and just their whole team and all the people. I got the privilege of going to the gym there where they're building a nice team of young Saudi boxers, and I got the privilege to talk to these young kids again. I just say it the way I feel it. They're becoming my kids. Like I feel, I do very little, but I just feel like they're my kids. I just feel a closeness to them, that I've been there 5 times in the last year, and I've been to the gym and I've worked with them, I've talked to them, I've seen them compete. And there was one little kid, he's like 10 years old, 11 years old, and we've created a closeness with a lot of the kids. But with this kid in particular, and he comes over to me and he says, "Where have you been? I've been looking for you." and I said, "Where have you been? I've been looking for you." And he said, "I've been here waiting for you." And it was just adorable. It was like, it was just human. It was just, it was cute, but it was endearing. It was real. And, I just feel a connection with those kids, and I care about them. So at the end of the day, I always try to be fair about everything, good, bad, indifferent. The undercard probably wasn't up to par with some of the undercards over there, because people will say, "Oh, Teddy, you're just giving us the good stuff." I think it's fair to say the undercard wasn't up to par, maybe, but the main event more than made up for it. The main event was fitting or befitting of a unification fight.
The undercard, Teddy, one quick thing is the names might have not have been massive, but I found the show to be entertaining. First round knockouts, Eubank did what he's supposed to do. There was action. They didn't get a lot of decisions. There was some good fights.
There was some one-sided, but look, it wasn't quite up to what the others were. At least that's my opinion.
No, that's fair. I enjoyed them, though.
No, there was different dimensions to them that, to your point, no doubt about it. But I always like to be fully forward and frank and candid. At the end of the day, the main event, again, was it more than made up for anything that might have been a little less than other undercards. And it was just what you would hope you would get in a unification undisputed fight, and very similar to the fight without the knockdowns, but very similar to the Usyk Fury fight that happened, where everyone was satisfied, where it was the right fight for a historic night, an undisputed night, and it demanded a rematch. And this fight, the same thing. It demanded a rematch, and I don't know if there was anything else that I'm missing right now for the peripheral, for the behind the curtain stuff. I don't know if there was anything else, but there was some controversy in the early fights, a little bit, and some shocks. The heavyweight fight was a one-round knockout. That was a rematch. The first fight was a draw. That was shocking. So to your point, that was surprising. That was shocking. Even though it was one round, it was one round of thunder and lightning. So that's banged through the undercard, really quick. And I'm going to give you my scorecard for the main event. We're going to go, because I did post something that I'll touch on it now, just to keep you kind of, waiting to see where I went with it. But I made a post saying, because a lot of people were saying that Beterbiev, got a gift, that Bivol got robbed, and I had Beterbiev winning. And then I made a post saying, look, when you're at ringside, even though you got a ringside seat, it could be difficult with the motion, with everything twirling around, all the other stuff that's in the air. It can be sometimes a little bit distracting, where you get caught up one way or the other a little bit. And the best way for me in a close fight, a controversial fight, an important fight, is to go home in a cold atmosphere with no sound, sterile, cold vacuum, and watch it again. And even though I haven't slept for a little bit, I watched it again after my caffeine. And I came up with the same score. But I got to be honest. I came up with it a different way, Ken. I got to the same place, but with rounds shifting from one guy to the other, especially early.
I mean, just the fact that you're saying you shifted from one live to taped just tells you how close it was. And for the judges' perspective, they don't have the luxury of going back and watching it. We'll get into the whole decision, but I thought it was as close as a fight could get. And it was literally like, what do you like better? One flavor or the other. It was as close as it could get. I don't understand people being shocked that there was a robbery. It came down to a one-round preference. I thought it was an excellent fight.
Again, I wanted the people to know I just want to be true to my word that when I put up that post, I mean it. I was going to go home and watch it again because I was starting, I don't know if I was doubting myself, but I said, okay, look, I'm human. Let me go. Like these punch numbers I see sometimes, please stop. Because human beings counting punches that fast, it's impossible to do it in any kind of accuracy. It really is.
One quick thing, if you did want to look at the numbers, they were literally 137 to 141 total punches landed, 31 body shots each landed. It was as close as you can get, no matter who was counting. And I don't even know who was 37 and who was 41 on the total punches, but they were like, this was as close as it can get, I think. And one guy had it a draw.
Yeah, listen, I could see it my way. I could see it 1 point different from the way I had it, or I could see it a draw. I guess it would be a draw my way.
Yeah.
I could not see, and I'll go into it in stronger, color it in a little more later, but I could not see it 116, 112.
Yes.
I couldn't see that.
Point.
I'll be honest.
Agreed.
But
yeah, no,
but
you're right.
Again, I did go back. I did look at it again, and I feel very, very. I feel very firm about the decision. Very sure, as sure as one can be when there's the human element. There is a subjective feature to it, to the scoring. Just like sometimes the strike zone for an umpire in baseball, where he sees the strike zone the way he sees it. I could only see the fight that way, but I really, really looked at it in a close, definitive, careful, responsible way. And I feel like I came up with the right score, but I guess everybody who scores a fight feels the same way. Let's get to the undercard. Let's shoot through it.
All right, before we get started, you mentioned working with the kids at the gym. If anyone out there wants to see learn some of the fundamentals of boxing, you can go to dynamicstriking.com, check out the Teddy Atlas collection. There's a series of videos there that teach all the fundamentals of boxing, from jabs, right cross, left hook, whatever you like. You can learn all the basics there from the comfort of your home. Additionally, if you like listening to Teddy and you like his stories, his audiobook is incredible. That's available on audible.com. And one more thing, the big foundation dinner coming up November 21st in New York City. I'll be there with Teddy, obviously, and Rob. The whole team will be there along with a whole host of celebrities, and we'll be rattling off all those names in future episodes. But if you want to meet a who's who in boxing and sports and entertainment in the New York area, please come to the Foundation Dinner on Staten Island, November 21st. Go to the Dr. Atlas Foundation website and check it out. Additionally, you could check out the Teddy Atlas Box Raw collection for all the proper boxing apparel. Let's rifle through these undercards. My pleasure.
I had one name that just came in.
Oh, sorry. One more. Box Pro. Teddy also hosts Box
Pro
podcast on Wednesday. Pro Box with Pro Box on Wednesdays with the great Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi, two of my favorites. Great show. Always get the insight from all the pros there on Pro Box.
No, I wasn't going to say that. Thank you, Ken. What I was going to say is I was going to add one thing about the dinner. We got about 35 celebrities coming, which I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for them coming to help us raise money to do what we do. But we just got a new confirmation today. Chaz Palmentier from The Bronx Tale, one of a classic. I think a classic movie, I mean, Sonny's coming.
Yeah.
Sonny will be there. Sonny will be there.
That's what they say in the business, Teddy. That's a good get.
They all are. And I'm appreciative of all of them. And I'll finish by saying that the best thing about the trip to Riyadh was two things. Of course, the fights, I get it. But the people there, that I can only speak to how they made us feel and have made us feel, and being with my son, sharing that, that commercial where you go to a baseball game, you go to a football game, whatever event, and it says $10. Now it's like $100, but like $10 for a beer, $10 for a Coke, $15 for a pretzel,
$1,000 to park.
$10,000 for the tickets. I'm kidding around, but whatever. And then, but the moment with your son, priceless. And that's just how I feel. I'm very grateful for that. I will always be grateful for that. The same thing as 2 weeks ago when we went to London for the big upset of Dubois over Joshua, and my daughter was with me. So, and then today, what a good daughter. What does she do? She takes the day off and she says, let me pick them up. She brings the grandkids, comes all the way up from Jersey, picks us up at the airport so we could get a few hours with the grandkids. My son could get with his nephews.
You must be doing something right to get her to drive to the airport in New York City. And I'll add one thing for you, Teddy. I think at times about my own life, and I said this to my wife the other day, no matter what you get, no matter what you have in terms of material stuff, money, physical possessions, nothing can take away experiences. They live inside of you forever. And those kind of experiences, doing things with your children, are the highlight of our lives. So I'm glad you got to have that opportunity. And sounds like an amazing trip. I'm jealous.
Thank you. Whittaker and Cameron. Whittaker, let's go.
Let's go. Controversial draw. Very
technical draw.
Was it a split draw? I think it was a split draw. Well, what'd you think of the fight and what'd you think of the decision?
Look, Whittaker was undefeated going in. Very talented. This was the first time I think he was in a fight stepping up where he was going to get tested. Tested where we were going to see whether or not he had more than the obvious. The obvious is he's got real talent. Real talent. Does he have the capacity to take that talent on a larger stage? Does he have the capacity to mentally persevere in a higher atmosphere? Does he have the capacity to breathe the thinner air and still produce physically the way we've seen him produce with those neon talents with other fights? That was what this was about. To get a chance to see that shiny car taken out on the road for a test drive on the highway instead of the back roads. That's for me, that's what this was. And because Cameron did represent that highway, that step up for Whittaker to see what's under the hood. We already knew that the body of the car was incredible. It looked like it had a lot of horsepower, the whole thing. We saw him actually tested, Whittaker, and I want to get through it fast. Once we started getting past the first few rounds, Cameron, with his experience, with his higher level of competence than some of the other guys Whittaker had been in there with, Cameron started getting to him, started testing him, started taking him to deeper waters in the 4th and 5th round. He had a real good 4th, a real big 5th. It looked like he was in control of the fight already, that he had taken control, that he was pushing Whittaker down a hill, that he hurt him to the body, he hurt him with some shots. He had control of the rhythm of the fight, the control of the man. It looked like he had Whittaker in a place he'd never been in a place where it was getting dark. And Whittaker hadn't gotten the answers yet. He had never been in a kind of fight where he went in there without answers. This fight, and what do I mean by without answers? Can I handle when my great talent doesn't dominate? That's what I'm talking about. Can I be the lawyer in the courtroom when the judge isn't on my side, where all my smart stuff I learned in my class in law school at the top of my class, it's not wooing the room. It's not dominating the room. I gotta dig deeper. I gotta dig deeper. I gotta find something else. I have to have more than just slick words. You know, I have to have something else. And Whittaker needed more than just, not slick words, but slick talent. You know, speed, all those things that he does have. And Cameron really started to make him wonder if he had it, if he could handle it, if he could handle this moment. And all of a sudden, the end of the fifth, I think it was, Cameron dominating the round, pushed him against the ropes. Some people think Whittaker pulled him. Some people think Cameron pushed him too hard. He went off the ropes, no doubt about it. They both fell out of the ring. Whittaker banged on the floor. They both did. Whittaker didn't get off the floor. Cameron did, and he thought he won the fight. There's a lot of people that thought Whittaker took the easy way out. I'm going to say this. I never dare to speculate on something I don't know. On something where I'm not in his body. I don't know the impact. He said his ankle got hurt. I don't know the impact. We've seen this stuff before in boxing. We have. I don't know where guys have fallen out of the ring. We even saw it with the great middleweight champion, Bernard Hopkins. We've seen it with different guys. Oh, yeah. But I don't know if he was really legitimately hurt and couldn't continue. To me, the definition of fighting within reason is not what Webster's has. For me, a boxing lifer, the definition of fighting is overcoming. That's fighting. Finding a way to overcome when it's not always going your way. Now, if you're really legitimately hurt, hey, I'm not in his body. I'm not judging him that he could or couldn't continue. He said he couldn't, so I'm going to take him for that. But there were a lot of people that, because of the way the fight was going, felt that it was like a Monopoly game. The Monopoly game, remember that game, Ken?
Yep.
When we were kids, where you go around the board, you buy up properties, you take cards, and one of those cards that you want to get is that get out of jail free card. There were people that thought that he got one of those cards, and he used it. Again, only he knows, him and God. Nobody else really knows. But I do know this, that it turned out to be advantageous to him. Even though, say, Beterbiev got hurt, whatever, it's still, for me, turned out to be advantageous in the fact that the fight was getting away from him, and this stopped it from further getting away. Maybe he would have turned it around. Maybe he would have dug deep and showed us the stuff that we want to see. Maybe he would have. But to me, at the moment, I can only go by the moment and what I saw at the moment. At the moment, I saw that it worked for him at that moment. Again, when it's all said and done, it's a technical split draw. They should have a rematch. I'm sure they will. There were people that even the rumor was, I didn't hear it. Again, make sure you hear what I'm saying. I do not confirm this. I didn't hear it. But there were people that said that they had heard the corner tell Whittaker to stay down. Again, that's all minutia. It don't matter. It's poppycock. All that matters is he didn't get up. He didn't get in. And it did change the trajectory of the fight. There's no arguing that. So Whittaker, and Cameron, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to say, hey, until next time, same station, same channel. We'll take a look at it next time, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. The next one. Go ahead.
Next up, Sky Nicolson gets a wide unanimous decision over Raven Chapman. Good battle, good win for Sky Nicolson. First female world title won in Saudi Arabia. How'd you like that one?
Yeah, history was made. You just said it. I like when history's made. First ever women's fight in Saudi. Look, full disclosure. I know and have gotten to know Chapman and her father, her camp, her, and I am fans of theirs. As people, as a fighter, I'm nothing against Nicolson. I don't know her. Undefeated, southpaw, Olympian, champion. I just thought that as the fight unfolded, and there's a girl who I just think the world of. But I felt that whatever the reason, when you're fighting someone that's a difficult style, like Nicolson, a style, not a puncher, but a style that very defensive oriented, controls the outside, southpaw, doesn't take a lot of chances, looks to take advantage of you coming in if she can, of your reckless aggression. And look, she deserves credit. She controls range. She uses her legs. She controls and tries to own and live on the outside. She depends on cooperation. She depends on, or she gets helped if you can help her. What do I mean by that? If you come in looking for one big shot, headhunting, she's defensive-minded, defensively, she's got a good enough defense where she can take advantage of that. Where she can see you coming, she can make you miss, she can counterpunch, she can pot shot, she can pepper, she can move off, make you miss. She was allowed to kind of fight with her fight plan, her style of looking to control the outside, looking to take advantage of your mistakes. She was given the opportunity to do that to a higher degree than I thought she was going to be given. Because Chapman, I felt when you're fighting someone like that, someone who's moving, someone who's defensive-oriented, somebody who's not taking a lot of gambles, you have to, the burden's on you, but you also have to come in the proper way. Not looking for big shots, because that plays into her game. She sees you coming, she creates traps, she creates counter opportunities, she creates space. You have to work in behind the jab. You have to even jab to the chest to control her, just to control and stabilize her from dominating the outside. I didn't see that. I saw head movement, I saw aggression, I saw all those good things from Chapman, but I didn't see what I'd seen in the past. Coming in behind the jab, even doubling it up because there was a distance to close. If the distance dictates you need two, then you use two instead of one. I didn't see the body work to take air out of the tires that I expected to see, and I had seen in prior fights with Chapman. I didn't see that. I saw cutting the ring down, but maybe not to the level I expected to see it. The bottom line was, I thought that Chapman fought the wrong kind of fight, the wrong kind of strategy and approach for this kind of opponent. At the end of the day, again, fed into her strengths by looking for the big headshots and allowing Nicolson, who deserved all the credit for fighting her fight. And I guess that's the best way to say it. Chapman allowed her to fight her fight. And I think that at the end of the day, maybe part of this is my feelings for Chapman and her people, but I really believe that this fight will suit her in the end. Sometimes you got to lose to win. And I think that she will learn from it. The kind of person, the kind of character, if I'm right about her, and I believe I am, and her people, I believe that she will, whatever reason, whatever went wrong, all credit to Nicolson. Was the moment too much for her? Did that get her out of sync and she didn't execute what she had worked to execute? Maybe. But whatever it was. At the end of the day, I believe that this experience is no different than experiences that prior fighters who had lost after being undefeated when they fought for the world title for the first time, that they had lost, but they learned. And they came back the next time for a title fight. And there will be a next time for her. The next time they came back and won. One that stands out right now, I could give you 100, but one that stands out, I don't know why, but real quick, Boom Boom Mancini. I remember Boom Boom Mancini got beat by the great Alexis Arguello. He was winning the fight going into the 10th. A lot of people say, you're nuts. No. I thought he was even or ahead going into the 10th. But then it got to the championship rounds. It got to the championship round. I think it was 15 rounds back then, but whatever. It got to the championship rounds and experienced the greatness. And Arguello was one of the all-time greats. The greatness of Arguello took over, and he wound up beating Mancini in those last couple rounds, stopping him. I don't remember what round, 11th, 12th, whatever it was, 13th, whatever. Wound up stopping. But I also remember, same thing. You had 10 good rounds. You're going to improve. You're going to learn from this. You're going to get better. You're going to fight for the title again. Sure enough, he fights for the title the second time against, I think it was Arturo Freyes. And what does he do? He beats Freyes for the world title. So history is there on her side if she goes and grabs history. And I believe that she will wind up doing it. We'll find out. We'll see. But Nicolson was, they're building her up that she's going to be the next face of women's boxing. Right now, the faces are pretty obviously, Katie Taylor, Serrano, and the best women's fighter right now, maybe of all time, but the best women's fighter right now that's won several weight classes already is, who am I saying, Ken?
Claressa Shields.
Claressa Shields, the two-time Olympic gold medalist. I've seen her since she was 16. I caught her fights in NBC when she won her first Olympic gold. So she's the best. Katie Taylor's special, one of the greatest ever, also an Olympic gold medalist. Serrano, one of the best ever. You got Layla Ali, that her name has to be in there when you go through the history. Obviously, you also have the coal miner's daughter, right? Am I saying that right?
That's right, yeah.
Christy Martin, maybe the godmother of...
Former guest of the show.
Former guest, and maybe the godmother of women's boxing, if you will, that she did so much to put it on the map. So you have some great names there. They're trying to make, she's not there yet, but they're trying to make, obviously, Nicolson possibly being one of those, filling in, possibly being an add to one of those great thrones. But by the way, those girls aren't ready to give up or advocate those thrones quite yet. So let's get to the next one.
Next up, Chris Eubank Jr. against Camille Szeremeta. Eubank does exactly what you'd expect him to do. He looked good at times, caught some shots, but he did what he had to do. 7th round knockout. It's just Szeremeta, if I'm saying that right, was tough. He took some shots. How'd you like it?
The one redeeming quality from Szeremeta was his gameness, his grit, his heart, his toughness, his guts. But he was outclassed. I have the feeling, I don't think I'm alone, but he was there to give Eubank a fight to shine, a fight, we don't know if he was going to shine, but a fight where they could predict that he'd have a good showing to set up the big money fight with him and Ben, which will be huge. After the fight, they got into it. They started promoting it WWE style.
Very good promotion. I really enjoyed it.
Not everyone enjoyed it. They're getting to each other head to head. Ben headbutted him or tried to a little.
As long as they don't start throwing punches, I'm good with it. I thought it was entertaining.
It has served a purpose. It'll bring attention to the fight. That's what they want to do, pre-promotion. It'll bring eyeballs to the fight. Hopefully bring fannies to this. I don't think they have to do much more because those are two UK fighters. Their fathers were world champs. Their fathers were legends over there. They're gonna bring 60,000 people somewhere in that neighborhood to probably Wembley. It's gonna be a huge fight. I thought that this was this was the dress rehearsal for that, or this was the appetizer to bring you in for the main course, to get you ready for that fight, to sell that fight. I'm not knocking Szeremeta, who was 25-2-2 going in with only 8 knockouts. Very game guy. But again, I think the promoters set it up the way they wanted to. I think they got what they wanted for the most part. Eubank drops him in the first minute of the fight, I think it was, and but doesn't get rid of him. Szeremeta, to his credit again, his heart, he survives. He got dropped a couple more times. Then he got dropped in this last round, the 7th, he gets dropped with a beautiful right uppercut. That's one of the fortes of Eubank, that right uppercut to the body. Beautiful right uppercut to the body, then a left hook to the liver, and he gets dropped the second time. Again, so game. He gets up again. He's ready to go, but the referee saw enough to towel. I think the corner threw it in. The referee, I think, was going to stop it. The towel got thrown in. The corner did the right thing because he was too game for his own good. Yeah, he was game. Yeah, he was going to keep trying, but he was going to continue to get taken apart little by. It was the kind of fight that I felt from the beginning that Eubank could do what he wanted in there. You know what I mean? Taking nothing away from Szeremeta, but different levels of talent. And it was kind of almost like a spawn session. Like he could work on stuff, he could play, he could take his time, he could waste rounds. But at the end of the day, he felt that when he wanted to put the hammer down, he could put the hammer down. So next.
Next, Jai Opetaia gets rid of Jack Massey with TKO in the 6th round. Jai Opetaia does exactly what he normally does. He looked great. He looked strong and got the finish. How'd you like it?
One of my favorite fighters, undefeated. What's he, 26-0 now with 20 knockouts, whatever.
I love the way he talks on the mic, too. He's like very, just all business, very polite.
Yeah, articulate kid. His father trains him. He's a good kid. He makes a good presentation in the ring, outside the ring. He's a kid that's easy to root for. He really is. He went in there with Jack Massey, who was 22-2 going in with 12 knockouts. Massey had never been stopped. And he fought good fighters that he lost to, like Joe Parker, the heavyweight, who's tremendous, who's in line for a heavyweight title now, coming off the big wins he's coming off with Wilder, what was the other one? Against the Chinese heavyweight. Wang. He's coming off 2 big wins, Joe Parker. He deserves a shot at the heavyweight title, won it pretty soon. Him and his trainer, Andy Lee, have just done magnificent work. Jack Massey lost distance to him and to another really good fighter. So it looked to go the distance. But it's a nice feather in the cap for Opetaia, who was a big favorite going in, but I don't think a big favorite to stop him. And he stopped him. He stopped him. Right from the beginning, Opetaia had a game plan to go to the body. Smart. He's in there with a guy who hadn't been stopped with good fighters. So what does he do? Chase the head? No. He goes to the body. He goes to the body, puts money in the bank, and it pays off for him later. He wears him down. He breaks him down. And then he starts putting uppercuts and other punches together a little bit more, and going to the body, staying with the body, and he gets to him. What round was it? 6th, whatever round it was. He gets to him. He breaks him down. Each round, he won every round. And it was getting more and more dominant. I thought it was, at the end of the day, He wasn't tested in any way. He's been tested already. Opetaia was tested in the fight before this, really tested. And I think that fight kind of showed for me in this fight what it did for him. It did stuff for him, if not physically, mentally, to shore him up in some areas that we all need to be shored up, especially as fighters, where it shored him up. It taught him something. I think it taught him that he could depend on himself in rough waters. And I think it also taught him that, because an undefeated kid flying through guys with that kind of talent doesn't always know, can I depend on myself when the waves get a little high in the ocean? Can I depend on myself? And I think he learned that in the fight before this, but I also think he learned not to assume you're going to get a knockout, not to look for the knockout, to go to work from the first round on with a plan to get the result, with a plan to build towards that victory, not to try to get that victory too fast with one big punch. I think he learned from that. Anyway, he's one of my favorite people outside the ring, one of my favorite fighters inside the ring. He's a southpaw. He's undefeated. And you're going to get a unification fight with him. I think you're going to get at least a few of the belts, I believe, pretty soon with him in that. And there's interesting fights. There's some, I know we don't talk about that in between division from light heavyweight to heavyweight, that stopgap, if you will. But let me tell you, there's some good fighters in that division and some really interesting fights to be made. So that was next. You have to have a heavyweight. You have to.
Fabio Wardley and Frazier Clarke in a rematch. They had to draw the first fight, and it was bombs away. Wardley gets him out in the first round. Cold cocked him. Just caught him clean. I like this fight. It wasn't much to it, but it was exciting while it lasted.
It was surprising. Coming off the first fight with them, you have a draw. You have a close fight. You have a great fight. You have a draw. Who expects a first-round knockout? Not too many people. So it was exciting. It was unexpected. Unexpected is usually theater. Exciting. And it was in a way that Wardley did what you didn't expect. He got that first-round knockout. And again, it goes to, I always say when a guy lands, yeah, he can punch. Yeah, he lands clean. But it's the delivery. It's always the reason. Why does the guy There's usually a reason of 1 to 4 reasons, really, that the other guy gives you an opportunity, makes a mistake technical-wise. I'm going to go to my grave with this because I've seen it over 50 years, and I work on it in the gym all the time. And I've been in those positions where I've had the responsibility of correcting mistakes, where we couldn't make the same mistake next time, or you had to correct a mistake even when you won, that you could have lost, but the guy in front of you that night wasn't capable of taking advantage of your mistake. And you got to be able to see those things. Technique is important. Good habits are important. Good habits, you will build a house on it. Bad habits, you'll build a house too with a weak foundation with bad habits. But the house will get blown down when the heavy winds come, when the moments of tests come. And it was just, again, one of those moments. One of the breaking of one of those rules, those techniques. You either get knocked out, I think, usually by you pull back straight on a straight line with your hands down, you stand too straight up in front, you come in from too far away, you don't work your way in, you leave a gap, you get counted on the way in, right? That's one of the ways. You don't move after your last punch. You look for the receipt, you wait, you get hit. Or, and here's the or, this is the one. Here it is. Here's the one. You throw the jab, the best punch in boxing, the favorite punch in boxing, also the most dangerous punch. If you don't throw it from the right distance, I used to always talk about that with all my fighters. If you don't throw it from the right distance, don't throw it. Because now, instead of being an advantageous punch for you, it's an advantageous moment for the other guy. You leave a door open, a window open for cold air to come in. Cold air behind the right hand. You're orthodox, you throw a jab a little too close, the guy can hit you with the right hand. You got to throw it from the right range where you get full extension. The guy can't counter you. You have to. And you get a little careless, it happens. You throw it from a little too close, bang. A good opportunity becomes the opposite. A good opportunity for you becomes a game changer for the other guy. A chance to catch you with a right hand he might not have caught you with clean before. And a right hand, if it's timed right, you don't see. That's what started it. That's what started the avalanche downhill, the domino effect. Wardley, Clarke throws the jab from a little too close in the first round. He gets hit with a right hand, staggers him. And to the credit of Wardley, he showed me great finishing instincts and style. Just great finishing ability, where he then went to the body because he knew he'd be trying to survive. Then he went back up to that. And then what happens? Another mistake. Clarke goes to grab him. He goes to grab him from too far away. I talk about that all the time. When you go from too far away to grab the guy, what happens? You leave a gap. And a lot of times you get away with it. This time he didn't. You go to grab him, you do this. You leave a gap. You leave an opening, a hole. And what does he do? Well, sometimes the fighter allows you to fill that hole and fall in and grab him. And the offense stops. The faucet gets shut off. No. Wardley was great. He kept the faucet. He kept the water running. He kept the momentum of the punches, the flow of the punches going. When he went to grab him, what did he do? I don't remember exactly if he pushed or he weaved under it. He took a half a step back. Whatever it was, he did not allow him to grab him. He did not allow him to smother him. He kept the distance just enough where he could keep the punches going. He landed a couple more definitive punches because of that, and it was all over. Great job by Wardley. Great job, catching with the initial punch and then showing real finishing qualities. All right, what are we doing? We're talking about the historic fight. Go ahead.
We've already set it up. It was incredibly close. Let me just read you what I had. I sent you guys a text during the fight because I wanted to make a note of what the odds were coming into the last round. So, excuse me, coming into the eighth round, bear with me one sec. Coming into the eighth round, I believe it was dead even. Then, yeah, right here. Odds are dead even starting the eighth round. Halfway through the 10th, Bivol was minus 180. So going into the 11th and 12th, the way I saw it, and I'm dying to hear your thoughts, I thought that Bivol gave the fight away in the last two rounds in so much as he wasn't busy enough. He barely threw punches, and Beterbiev just walked him down unloading shots. And obviously he was fatigued, or he would have tried to answer back. But I think that that's where the fight was won and lost. And that's how I saw it. But more importantly, what'd you think?
All right, I disagree with you. I'll tell you where. Just in your way of describing it, you got to the right place by saying it the wrong way. He didn't give it away. He got it taken away. I'll say it again. I couldn't be more sure of this. Bivol did not give anything away. He fought a great fight. He didn't give anything away in the championship rounds. Beterbiev took it away. Yes. Beterbiev won the championship rounds and won the fight. I had it dead even. I have to look at my scorecard. I'm going to show it to everybody. I want everyone to see it. But after 10, I had it 95-95. Dead even. He won. Beterbiev took the championship rounds. Now, early, as I said, I got the same score when I looked at it again. But I got it a different way. I got it a much different way. I gave the first, after watching it the second time with no sound, in a vacuum, at home, away from all the stuff going on in ringside, I gave the first 4 rounds to Bivol. You want to argue with me? I think you're wrong. But then again, hey, you think I'm wrong. Good, we're even. But I gave the first 4 rounds. And then, Beterbiev gets the engine going, and what does he do? He takes the next 4. Yeah, that's how I had it. And then it goes back and forth. The ninth round goes to, I'm sorry, wait a minute. I'm giving it to you wrong. Yeah, Beterbiev, as I said, Bivol, the first 4. Beterbiev, the next 4. And then to stop the momentum of those straight 4 rounds that Beterbiev took, Bivol comes back like a champion. He comes back and he takes the 9th. That makes it even. I think that there were close rounds, but there were also rounds where I thought, to the fans of Bivol, and I'm with you, he was putting punches together, where he was landing clean combinations. Really was. And he won some of those rounds. But some of those rounds where he started off early, winning with those combinations, winning with the geography of the ring on the outside, winning by landing clean. I thought some of those rounds, Beterbiev closed and took away the early part and finished strong. And if you want to say stole the round, I'm not going to say stole the round. I'm going to say that he finished strong and took the round. You can say stole it if you want, but he took the round late. I thought there was a few of those where you could get caught up and say, well, Beterbiev, was getting caught early, which he was. And Bivol was the one catching him. And then again, the pressure. This is what Beterbiev does. Beterbiev is a pot of boiling water. If you want to know what Beterbiev is, you don't have to watch video. Just go to your stove, get a full pot of water, and put it on the stove with a high flame. All right? And nothing's happening. So you got to go away for 20 minutes, a half hour. You go away for a half hour, you come back, something's happening. The water's boiling. Come back another few minutes later, and something else happens. There ain't no more water. It evaporated. That's what Beterbiev does. And full disclosure, I picked Bivol to win. I could easily say, he won. I picked him to win. I got robbed. No, I didn't get robbed. It was a great fight. Nobody lost in certain ways. One guy got his hand raised. Nobody really lost. But at the end of the day, Beterbiev won. He won, and the fight went the way it went. I will give myself credit for one thing. I said that Bivol would be in position to win this fight, not only because of his style and his talent, which is his hand speed, his ability to put punches together, his ability to set traps, his ability to counterpunch, all of that. His ability to control range, his ability to have great legs, to keep you off balance, to pick spots, to give angles, all of that. He was going to need all of that. More dimensional than Beterbiev, more options than Beterbiev, more sophisticated maybe in some ways than Beterbiev, or more polished in some ways technically, style-wise. Go ahead. That's all fair. But that wasn't what was going to only put him in position to win. What was going to put him in position, different than the prior 20 guys, that some of them had the right idea too, the right style too, but they didn't get to the finish line. The reason why I thought this would be different and Bivol would have a chance to win, which I picked him, was because of this. The mental aspect. That in this case, that Bivol would be up to the task. He would be up to the task and not get evaporated, not get boiled down. Mentally be strong enough, willful enough, whatever you want to call it, warrior enough, but to be able to handle that pressure, to be able to handle the boogeyman, to not get destroyed by the pressure, destroyed by the aura, destroyed by the power, destroyed by all of it, that he would at least be able to be there to the end because of that capacity, that endurance. Yeah, he was in great shape physically, but the mental endurance to be able to, again, handle the knock at the door when the devil knocked at the door. I didn't think that he would get the door broken down, that he would freaking open the door and he would handle and fight and deal with the devil. And he did. And he did. And it was a hell of a fight. Not to use a pun for hell and devil, but it was a hell of a fight. Not to, again, to play on words. I thought that the fight plan was brilliant for both guys. Typical for Beterbiev. And another thing before I go further, Beterbiev, and I'll give myself credit for this, he's more than a seek and destroy missile. Anyone who went to sleep on him thinking or goes to sleep saying he's just power, he's just force, he's just a force of nature. He's just, a guy that outwills everybody. He's all of that, but he's more than that. He's also, he doesn't get credit for the polish, for the sophistication, for the technique that a Bivol gets where it's so clear, where it's so easy to see. But he has it in his own way. He comes in behind the jab. He never gets off balance. He never reaches. He never gets his upper body ahead of his lower body. He's never out of position. Never. Yeah, he gets hit. Yeah, he got hit with jabs. But he's always got the hands up. How many left hooks did he block? He would have got hit 452 left hooks by Bivol if he didn't keep that right hand up. He never drops the right hand. Again, he controls range his own way. Not the way where it's exaggerated and you can see it so beautifully with Bivol getting out, getting to the sides. But he does his own version of stepping out just a little bit and then stepping back in, of closing gaps the right way, not leaving himself open when he does. And I'll tell you what he does most brilliant. And the commentators didn't jump on this, I don't think, at least the ones that were over there. They didn't jump on it, and they're good, but they didn't jump on it. When he's got you going downhill, he keeps you going downhill. What I mean by that is once he starts to get into his rhythm, once he gets the engine going, once he gets out of the driveway and he gets on the highway and he starts getting a rhythm of punches, throwing punches at you, and he gets that range where he can move his hands like this. He starts to close that gap and he's throwing the punch, and he's throwing those punches. He continues to throw them as he steps. A lot of guys throws them, then they step, and they get ahead, they fall in. Their body gets ahead of them. He does two things, and it sounds simple. It sounds like everyone does it. No. Not everyone does. He does two things in unison. He does them in sync. Synchronization. He steps and punches. He's stepping and punching with you. So you get no relief. He takes the air out of the way. You get no relief. Yeah, I don't care if you go and take Rolaids. Rolaids, the commercial spells relief. How do you spell relief? Relief. R-O-L-A-I-D-S. Well, you don't spell it that way. Not with Beterbiev, because he figured gives you indigestion. He gives you gas. And then he does more than that. Then he rips your stomach out by going to the body. So again, as he's stepping, simultaneously, he's stepping and he's punching. And he stays right with you when he feels the time to do that. And he does, and he follows you. He sticks to you like glue. He sticks to you like a cheap suit. You can't get him off you in those spots. And Bivol did a great job, great fight plan of not only combination to the head, but go to the body early on. I made a note to myself. Am I seeing things, or is the guy who should be going to the body early on actually not going to the body, and Bivol is going to the body? Bivol was flipping a script where he was going to the body, and it was working for him with right hands to the body. Beautifully. But when the time mattered, when the moment came, when it mattered most, when the championship rounds came, Beterbiev did not forget the body. He didn't forget the body. And that body punching late in the fight, 10th round, late in the fight, it helped to get him what he wanted. Cooperation from a great fighter. What do I mean cooperation? Cooperation in a way that he would get him to stay against his better judgment, against his corner's plan, against his own plan, against what he wanted to do, what his mind wanted to do, but his body wouldn't allow it. He didn't get broken down mentally from the pressure. Beterbiev, in this particular fight, started to break him down physically at the end of the fight, where the body punches got Bivol to cooperate, where his legs could no longer do what they were doing earlier. And he was forced to stay in a geography of the ring that did not suit him. Close quarters. What suited him all night, and he knew it, and he was brilliant with it, was the geography on the outside. Keep enough space where you could catch him coming in. And you know what he did beautifully, Bivol? Not that he just ran. I heard some guys that are supposed to be pundits, I won't name them, but I think it's ridiculous. They were actually saying, oh, he's got to run. He's got to run. He's got to run? No, he's got to step. He's got to move to the sides. He's got to move fluidly, sometimes faster than other times, but he's got a tiger claw. He's got to grab the canvas, control range on the outside, not lay too close, not stay there when he was finished, change range, but he's got to be set to punch because you have to deter the man. You have to deter this boogeyman from coming in. You have to be able to punch. You can't just move. It's got to be a combination of offense and defense. And he had a brilliant combination, Bivol, brilliant, of offense and defense all night, until the last couple rounds. And even early in the last couple, but then late, it was Beterbiev getting his way. But his plan was not just to move, because if you just move with Beterbiev, I'll tell you right now, I've seen it. He'll walk right in. He'll track you down. He'll track you down like you track down an animal in the woods. He will. And that promotion, that promo film before the fight that looked like a movie. It looked like an Oscar-winning movie. I think they spent more money on that than there's some shows that we see that don't spend the money they spent on that promotional film that really did look like a movie, where both guys are tracking themselves like the old warrior days. They're tracking them. They're tracking the bear. They're tracking the lion. They're going after them, and then they're going after each other. And what are they doing? What are they doing? What does Beterbiev do? He looks to get to his prey. And then he looks to skin his prey. And then he looks to take the pelt of his prey, and put it on a wall. That's what he was trying to do. That's exactly how he goes about it. And he will do it if you just move. He will just keep coming in, until finally he tracks you and he skins you. That's what I thought was brilliant about Bivol. And that's where he needed this capacity. The upstairs. Yeah, the heart, we get it. All the fighters that fought him had heart. They all had heart. But they weren't all mentally with the endurance, with the mental toughness, if you will, or the mental resiliency to be able to not get talked out of the win, get talked into to give it in, even in the slightest way, to be talked into just cooperating in the slightest way. They did not quite have the capacity to argue that off, if you will. And he did. That's what allowed him to use his physical skills all the way through. So, again, his fight plan was not just to move. It was to control range and punch before Beterbiev. Give Beterbiev an impediment to getting to you. Give him something to go through. Give him something to slow him down. Give him something to think about. Give him something where he doesn't feel that he's going to own you. And he gave him that, where he was set to punch, bang, 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 move, set. Even when he moved, he punched out because he moved and still grabbed the floor. Didn't just move like a ballerina who's just solely moving to get away. He moved where he also made sure he had the ability to punch. That's what made it a great fight. That's what made it an even fight going into the late rounds. And I thought there was a couple dynamics that changed the fight. I thought it was the body work late for Beterbiev. I also thought there was a punch. I think my son pointed out to me at ringside. I don't know if it was the 9th round. No, it might have been the 10th round. It might have been the 11th, where there was a punch behind the ear. At first, we thought it was behind the head. I think it was behind the ear that really, really, really affected Bivol to the point that he had to move more than he wanted to just to be able to survive after getting caught with that. A punch that might have knocked out a lot of guys because it messes up your equilibrium. But it blew the round for him. It took him out of the round where he had to survive for the first time in a fight. He had to concentrate more on getting through the round than trying to win the round. And I thought that was a turning point. I also thought there was a turning point late in the fight. Maybe it was 8th round. I don't remember. One of those rounds. You guys will pick it up. You watch it again. Where he's dominating the early part of the round, Bivol. Beautiful. Textbook stuff. Brilliant stuff. Putting combinations together. Bang, 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 boom, bang, 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 bang. I mean, beautiful. Mixing up the punches. Everything. Landing. Affecting Beterbiev early in the round. And I made a note right there. I said, brilliant work. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy with this guy, with this boogeyman. Don't get greedy with this destroyer of men. Don't get greedy. Don't throw one punch too many. And guess what? He got greedy. He threw one punch. If you're throwing and you land in 4, cut it off at 4. If you land in 5, cut it off at 5. Whatever it was, it might have been a 5-punch combination. He went for the 6th. He was having success. And on the 6th, what does this guy do? What does this guy do? This bear of a man, what does he do? He comes back as he's throwing his 6th, and he got you. I got you. And he hurt him. And then he dominated from that point. That changed the trajectory also. That changed also the dynamic of the fight. Right there. Dominant round early, and then all of a sudden throws one punch too long, stays in one spot a little too long, he gets nailed. Bang! Change it. And that's the other thing. I said it early. I'll say it again. There were rounds where Beterbiev, it was Bivol early. Bivol early. First minute and a half. Bivol. And then all of a sudden, the motor gets going. The guy keeps coming. The water keeps boiling. You don't see it. You don't see it on the stove. You don't see it until the pan is empty. You don't see it, but it's doing something. It's doing that pressure. It's the same way as Usyk with Fury. Great fight. 2 great fighters. Pressure from the first round. He was losing the fight after 6, Usyk. He was losing. He got caught a good uppercut at the end of the 6th. He got shaken a little. It was Fury. Fury was ahead in that fight. People thought he was going to win easy. The pressure. Yeah, he didn't win those rounds, but the pressure. It was doing something. It was boiling water. It was doing something. It was doing something that was going to take away from Fury later, and it did. It did. And that's what the pressure of Bivol, or Beterbiev, does. You don't see it. You don't see it, but it's there. But the other guy feels it. And it has its effect. I thought that the jab was the key punch for both fighters. Yeah, there was Beterbiev, by the way, does something that George Foreman knocked out a fighter that I'm very close to. I mean, I love him. I love a few of my ex-fighters, quite frankly. Cuz said, never fall in love with your fighters. What am I going to do? I have that weakness, if you will, if that's a weakness. But I fell in love with Tim Bradley. I fell in love with Michael Mora, a few of the fighters. I'll never forget what we did together and what they've done for me and what Michael Mora did winning the heavyweight title. But George Foreman was one of those guys that threw this punch. It's so simple, but very few people execute it this way. Where you throw the jab, you set the table with the jab, you eat with the right hand. So boom, boom. No, that's not what he does. That's what most people do. He does this. Where the right hand is right behind, trailing the jab. Where when the right hand lands, you don't see it. Beterbiev does that. He throws a jab to split your guard, and the right hand is right behind it. He does that. It's a subtle little thing. I doubt it that many people, even when they watch film, they're getting ready, I don't think they even realize it. But you do when you get hit, because you don't see it. He does that brilliantly. I thought the jab, I thought that both guys were looking to set the table with the jab, control the pace with the jab, control the theme of the fight with the jab, the pace of the fight, the what's that called? Ring generalship of the fight with the jab. I thought the jab was the key for both guys. Different ways, but both guys, at the end of the day, the jab. And I thought they set the table with the jab and then they ate with other punches. Yes. But Beterbiev's jab was to get in. It was to stabilize the outside. It was to get in. Bivol's jab was used to set up punches, to control range, to keep range, to be able to, be part of his defense with his offense. They used it maybe for different reasons, but they both used it for the right reasons. To control the fight, to get them to a chance to be in a winner's circle. The jab was a key component of the fight for both guys. And I want to make sure I broke it down the way that I feel is proper for the audience out there. Again, Bivol, at the end of the day, he's there. He's there to win the fight going into the 11th and 12th, the championship, because of this. Yeah, there's stuff inside the chest. All right, but this. His ability to not let the lights flicker when other guys let the lights flicker and even start to get really dark. Because that's what Beterbiev and constant pressure and that whole aura, everything that he brings, that force, that reputation, all of it, it weakens guys. Bivol did not let that happen. And I didn't think he would. And that's why I picked him with a good chance, I thought, to win the fight. I felt, I understand the Eddie Hearn, the promoter. I don't think he's just being a promoter. He was screaming about his guy won. Hey, what's wrong with that? That's your guy. If that's what you believe. See, this is where I differ with some people. I don't think he was screaming just because he's his promoter. I think he legitimately thought he won. And I can see that. It was the kind of fight where if you made it a draw, I don't got a problem. I don't got a problem. I thought Beterbiev won. You want to give it a point to Bivol? Hey, it was the kind of fight where I could see Eddie Hearn and others think that their guy justifiably had the right to say he won. But I didn't see it that way. I saw it again. The championship rounds, when that moment came, I saw Beterbiev take the fight. And I did see something else. I saw the admission. Now, this is one that's deep, where a lot of people are going to wonder if I'm right with this. I saw the admission. Beterbiev don't admit nothing other than he has a code to live by, that he admits that he must live by that code. That warrior's code of conduct, no matter what. Of conduct, of overcoming, of finding a way, of conquering. And I think Bivol has that code too. I think they both come from a region of the world where that code, we get it here too, but where that code is really, really taught, where it's really taught and expected. I thought that there was an admission that I saw by his action around the 9th round where Beterbiev sort of laid, how do I want to say this? Sort of admitted to himself, which is smart, because if it's there, you got to at least deal with it so you could make an adjustment, where he at least showed me the concession or idea. I don't want to say concession. He don't concede. But the idea that he was close to 40. Okay? I talked about before the fight, this old man, the only undefeated fighter in the history of sports, the history of boxing. For thousands of years, he's undefeated. Old man time. Does he show up? I think that Beterbiev showed me in spots, especially in the 9th, where he at least was aware of maybe getting close to that number, 40, because he took his foot off the gas, which I'd never seen him do before, enough where I thought he gave up, I want to be sure, where I thought he gave up the 9th. But he was smart. He was brilliant. He was honest with himself. But he was what a warrior has to be. Sometimes a warrior's got to say, okay, all right, I will not retreat so much as I will take a little more time here for my final attack, because I will make my final attack the most powerful attack. And I thought that's kind of what this warrior did. And they're both warriors. Where in the 9th round, he kind of showed that he knew that he's getting close to 40, where he couldn't keep his foot on the gas pedal. So he let off it a little bit. And by doing so, he gave up that round. But by doing so, he did something else. He saved enough petrol, enough gas in the tank to do what he was ready and had to do. Win the last 2 rounds. Win the last 3, I should do, 10, 11, 12. Win the last 3 rounds, the championship rounds. And he did. And he did. I want to look to see here. He took the last 3 on my card to win the last. So he led off. He said, yeah, you know what? I never had to do it. I never saw him do it before. He led up. He paced himself a little. He saved enough. And then he went and said, okay, we got enough left for this home drive. This drive to the finish line. And he drove to the finish line. And I thought that was interesting to me. That was it. Now, I want to touch on something that Pedro Martinez-Fraga made sure that I would touch on. And my son, too. If there's a rematch, and there will be, it has to be, mandated, has to be. Who doesn't want a rematch? Come on. What will happen and why? And I'm going to go there. I know it's early, but I'm going to go there. I'm not going to go there picking a winner necessarily, but who does it favor and why? And who does it not favor and why? I think you could make an argument on both. You could make the argument that, let's not forget, Beterbiev was coming off knee surgery. He was out a year. He was coming off knee surgery. He's going to have more time for the knee to fully recover maybe. Maybe that benefits him. He also had a year off. Maybe this fight, I don't know, maybe it benefits. Here's the other side of it. And I might be leaning towards this side. He gets closer to 40. He maybe becomes 40. Another tough fight. A fight that, as I always say, fighters leave something of themselves in the ring. They leave something. Ali and Frazier left a lot of themselves in the ring. They weren't the same after the initial fights. They leave something in the ring. I would say that the guy who's closer to 40 would possibly be more affected by that kind of fight in a rematch than a guy who's 7 years younger. I believe I got that right. Bivol's 33. I would think that Bivol will be less affected in that kind of way, physically, of leaving something in a ring and maybe being impacted by that in a rematch, where I think Beterbiev might be more impacted in a rematch. And the final thing, who does it serve more overall from a mental experience, an emotional experience, an experience? I think it possibly benefits Bivol more. Because, Bivol went in there, he looked the devil in the eye, he didn't flinch, he didn't look away. He fought him tooth and nail, and he fought him smart. And when he had to fight him at the end, where he had to fight, in a place that wasn't best suited for him he still did it. He still got through it. I think that I got to be careful because people are going to say, well, Bivol didn't need confidence. He showed you he had the I know that. But he still was facing a boogeyman. He still was facing this guy he's almost a cult-like figure now. Like this guy that just, again, he's the taker of men's souls. 20-0 he was, 20 knockouts. That has to be in your mind somewhere. And now it's been faced, it's been seen, it's been dealt with. I think that Bivol's got to be better for that experience. I have to believe that in a rematch. It'll be very, 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 very interesting to find that out. I'm going to show my scorecard. Ken, I'm going to leave it up there for a minute to fans. I'm going to let you see not only the rounds, but the notes that I made in several rounds of why and what I thought dictated me coming up with the numbers I came up with. So you know what I was thinking right there. That's my scorecard. The end of the day, 115, 113. Great fight. Great unification. Great night for boxing. The fans got a little happier. The sport got a little healthier. The next question I have is this. And I don't like to be the party pooper and rain on the parade, but I am a guy that does say what sometimes I think has to be said, even when it can come off as being a party pooper, if you will. But that's what happens sometimes when you've been around too long. Here's the next question, and a line that Vegas would maybe put up. What is the betting line on how long it's going to take these sanctioning organizations to start doing a striptease to strip the undisputed fighter? So within how long? Is it 2 days? Is it 2 hours? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 2 months? Is it a month? Sam, Ken, does anyone disagree with me that it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when somebody steps in, one of these organizations, and does the old stripperoo instead of leaving it together after 25 years of finally getting it together? What do you think, Ken? Do they leave it? Do they leave it where the titles stay together, or do they? Do they?
They'll probably strip them by the end of the week.
The end of the week. All right. Okay. Can we get my bookie? Can we get my book? By the way, I brought a little bit of a for my two grandsons. I have two grandsons, two beautiful granddaughters. I brought a little bit of, memorabilia back from the fight, the historic fight that turned out to be what a historic fight should be. So I did bring back something for them. I want them to keep these, collect them. Nice, right?
Beautiful. So nice. That's great. I saw the pictures of you with Beterbiev and Bivol too. Great pictures.
Somebody made a comment. I don't read this stuff, but my son does. Someone made a comment. It was kind of cute. I had to laugh. Said, wow, Teddy did something in this picture with Beterbiev that not too many people have done. He made him smile. He smiled.
Yeah, that's true.
He must like Teddy. Not that he doesn't like you if you don't smile, because that's his demeanor. That's his, that's just natural. But when I looked at the picture, I didn't realize that. I looked at it and said, yeah, it was smile. That was nice. It was. Listen, the guy's a devoted guy. I think I'll finish with this. I think our strengths come from different places. Some of them come from genetic places, our parents. Some of them come from the places that we choose, that we go and we work our backsides off, and we develop ourselves in areas that we weren't necessarily developed in. Where we strengthen areas that everyone can strengthen. That doesn't matter who your parents are. It doesn't matter, whether or not you have perfect genes, but you go and you strengthen yourself in the areas that anyone can strengthen themselves, where those talents are very important. Not just the speed, not just the power, not just the quickness, but the abilities I talk about, where you strengthen yourself as far as being more reliable, consistent, dependable, being more resilient, being just, having the capacity to overcome, to get the most out of yourself when you might not have all of the physical assets maybe your opponent has. But there's a lot of ways to draw strength, to make yourself strong enough to be a champion in anything. And there's another way too, to be inspired by something beyond yourself, to attach yourself to something beyond yourself. I've seen guys do it. I've seen Muhammad Ali do it. I've seen Canelo do it. Pacquiao attached himself to the need, the belief of his people. I've seen Usyk do it, where he attached himself again to the faith, to the need of the Ukrainian people at war right now, to be the person that he won't let them down, that he will give them that just that motto of strength, that he represents himself. Again, the Filipino people, that Manny Pacquiao can tell those people that if I can do it, you can do it. Canelo lets the Mexican people and connects with their faith, connects with their allegiance, connects with their loyalty, that he must not let them down, that he must have strength for himself because of their strength and belief for him. And I saw it with Ali, where Ali believed, very religious, believed that he was here and put here for a purpose other than only for himself, but a purpose for his religion, his beliefs. Again, to be able to forward those beliefs, those teachings, if you will. And I believe that Beterbiev falls into that category. That, yeah, he's physically like a piece of rock. He really is. And yeah, he's as determined as they come. And he's steely like with his will. But I believe that some of that, he derives some of that strength, some of that power from his religious faith, his religious belief that he is empowered. If you believe it, it's true. You make it true. And it might be true on its own. I don't know. But you have to believe it's strong enough. And I believe, like the other ones I talked about, that Beterbiev derived some of his strength from his belief, from his religion, that you want to call it that he's been chosen, that he is connected to a greater power, a greater strength. I believe that. I believe that's part of it. And we all need something to believe in. We all need something to believe in. And I'll leave it there. I think it's a perfect segue for Ken to talk about something that he uses, that he believes in.
That's right. And that you should believe in, especially coming off a 20-hour commute from Saudi Arabia, and that's Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens is the all-in-one green drink, 1 scoop a day. It's like an insurance policy for your body's health and immunity. No matter how healthy your diet is, it's very easy to miss all the micronutrients and vitamins that you need. Athletic Greens made from 75 whole food sourced ingredients, put together with a team of doctors. This is the best supplement that I take. If there's only one supplement I can take a day, it would be Athletic Greens. Make sure you get all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients you need. Go to athleticgreens.com/Atlas and they'll send you 10 of these travel packs free with your first purchase. athleticgreens.com/Atlas. Teddy, thanks for breaking all the fights down. It's late. I know you're tired, and I appreciate you doing this. And I know Rob and Sam are tired too. So thanks everyone for being with us. We'll be back next week with all the action. And please like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. Teddy, have a great week.